the outstanding county clerk who's remade that office in a dramatic way.
Just introduced several people.
We have two members of the county board of legislators. It's perfectly fine for me to say this is the year of election for these folks, and we appreciate your support on their behalf. Now, two of them don't have opponents, but we're going to clap for them anyway. Catherine Parker, county legislator, New Rochelle's own Terry Clements. He's the guy you got to help out. He's in a tough race, but he's a good man. County legislator, David Marr. On the city council, currently serving, and he's completing his career as a city councilman. He's done an outstanding job. Jared Rice, city councilman.
Thank you.
We have city council member Ivar Hayden. Wearing white after Memorial Day. Perfectly appropriate, Ivar. Council member Barry Fertel, also completing years of service. Barry, member Liz Creed. Liz? We have members who are candidates who are running for city council, and primary is coming up in a couple of weeks, and of course a general election in November here in New Rochelle. Yadira Ramos Herbert, Sarah Kay, and David Peters. And if there are any other candidates who are competing, somebody get me a quick note before I turn the microphone over. We're happy to mention you as well. We have with us a judicial candidate, Judge, Ossining Judge, Town Judge, Michael Taywell. And Michael is one of the candidates on the ballot for County Court Judge, which is the primary the same day as the City Council primary. We have the chairman of the Westchester County Democratic Committee, Reginald Lafayette. And I don't know if I've missed anybody, but as I said, tell me quick, and I'll be more than happy to introduce you. All here on behalf of our guest speaker, who is the center of honor today, and the person who's done such a fabulous job running New Rochelle for these last 15 years, is it? 14 years, Noam Bramson.
Woo!
For those of us in government who have served in legislative positions, and Noam was a councilman, I was a councilman when I first started out, and I've had some other legislative positions, we think we know how hard it is to be in public office as an executive. I got a good lesson starting about 17 months ago about how much experience being a county legislator and a state legislator means when you have to sit down and worry about budgets, worrying about delivering solid results, because people aren't judging you on what your positions are, they're judging you on what you get done. And when you drive through the streets of New Rochelle, you see a renaissance in our midst. Don't you? Don't you see a renaissance going on? Coming from Pelham Manor, from the west to the east. You come down the Boston Post Road in Larchmont, Pine Brook, off of Weaver Street coming into the city. You see building cranes everywhere. You see a new skyline in the making, a new energy and a new drive that's happening in this community. Building on the success of the past, but taking you to a future that's much greater than we could imagine. That is the handiwork of Noam Bramson and the members of the council that work. We see a city of New Rochelle that is committed to environmental protection, to the Green New Rochelle program that exceeds what most of us do. We're still in the aspirational stages, and here in New Rochelle, they're making the environmental accomplishment an accomplished fact because of Mayor Noam Bramson and his colleagues of this county. You walk in the heart of downtown, and I don't know if you see building cranes, but you see public art that creates something that looks so much more dynamic than you see in other places. That type of commitment to the urban landscape, over and above the development of the urban landscape, that's part of the vision of Noam Bramson and the city council that served with it. You haven't run out of time so far. We're being given a lesson of what happens when we don't win elections. And government is not just about win, baby, win. Government is about how you govern, how you handle the needs of people. And the electoral process is the process you go through to achieve that power. But we're getting a lesson from Seattle to Miami, from Bangor, Maine to San Diego. What happens when we don't pick the right person? We're watching it in Technicolor. Story after story. Every day you wake up, you go to your Twitter feed, and you see something else that's outrageous, ridiculous, you name it. And it makes you understand that we have an obligation to be good citizens every single day and every single year and every single election time. Because when we think everything is going great, that's when the tide can turn. Most of us felt that Barack Obama was a successful president, and he laid out a platform of the future. Now we're watching it horribly changed by the person that succeeded. So every one of us is on notice that whether it's the county of Westchester, the state of New York, the nation, or the city of New Rochelle, you need to look for, find, and keep good, dynamic leadership, people who know how to get things done, people who have in their heart the desire to that which Noam Bramson has done. Day after day. Just celebrated his 50th birthday. He may be bummed out about that, but I'm 65. I get it. And at 50 years of age, his future is still in front of him. So we're happy that he is a dynamic mayor today. We know that he can move New Rochelle forward, and we know that he has more in his public service ahead of him. I give you your dynamic mayor, Noam Bramson.
George mentioned 50 for me, 65 for him. This is my profound observation about the aging process. The worse my eyesight gets, the younger I appear in the mirror. It's like really wonderful how that works. You know, I'm brushing my teeth in the morning and thinking to myself, that fuzzy, vaguely human shape over there in the reflection hasn't aged a day. And so I know people are constantly giving advice about diet and exercise. You don't need any of that stuff. This is the only tip you need is do not wear eyeglasses in the bath. You will always be okay. So aside from that, that pearl of non-wisdom, I am trying not to be overly philosophical about an essentially arbitrary milestone. I'm trying not to fall into the trap of all this sort of cliched midlife crises, no ponytail, no motorcycle, no tattoos, beard is kind of a new addition as long as Katie wants it. And I'm trying especially not to dwell on the disconcerting fact that there is a serious candidate for President of the United States who I actually support and who is 13 years younger than me. It's kind of a little, and a mayor to boot to make it even more disconcerting. Actually, this is, I should tell you, this is a little bit of a long-standing hang-up for me. Remember back in 2012 when Mitt Romney picked Paul Ryan to be his running mate? So the very next day, Katie and I are sitting at the breakfast table with the New York Times laid out in front of us. And I look over at Katie and I say, you know, Paul Ryan is younger than I am. And Katie, without missing a beat, and understand she was saying this purely with love and purely in jest, but reading my mind perfectly, Katie looks back up at me and she says, "You're a loser." So I'm trying not to go to any of those places. And instead, use this as an opportunity to take stock of the things for which I can be truly grateful. And first and foremost, that is a wonderful family. I already mentioned Katie, but let me mention her again. Thank you so much for everything. Always being my father, wiser, a whole charming member of the team. And our boys, Jeremy and Owen. Jeremy's a freshman in the high school, and Owen will be joining in September. So I don't think they've ever known anything other than their father being in public life. They've always born from good grades, for which I'm enormously grateful. My mother, Mira, my aunt, Malta, my brothers, Dave and Mira Warren, my sisters-in-law, Laura and Leah and Mary Jo, as well as their children. Just a wonderful support network that I'm grateful for every day. And I'm grateful not just for my family, I'm grateful for friendships. I'm grateful for all of you. Some of us have known each other for decades. Others we've gotten to know more recently. I will never take for granted your support and your friendship and your generosity, your presence here today. It means more to me than I can possibly express. And I think, need to say a special word of thank you to folks who organized this event and brought us together. Kim DiTomaso, Nuha Khalil, and Leslie Molinoff, my treasurer, Kathy Townley, Angela Taylor, my partner at Anna's office, and all the volunteers who visited us. The national was 4,000 people in the hallway. And finally, I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve a community that I love and that I feel represents something important and that I am fiercely loyal to. You know, maybe less or more relevant than just my age is the fact that I have now spent almost exactly half of my life in public office, the majority of my adult life. And that's given me a little bit of perspective. You know, I've seen this city go through some very, very challenging times. I became mayor just on the cusp of the Great Recession. And for such a long time, all of our choices were different. The name of the game was trying to figure out which is the least bad option. And I don't want to say that those were wasted years, because you can make the argument that it's in times of challenge that maybe leadership is even more important. And even though it may not have been apparent at the time, I believe that we laid a foundation then for many of the things that are happening now. But boy, it is a lot more fun to govern when things are going well. And things are going exceptionally well in New Rochelle today. Now, a couple of months ago, I gave my State of the City address, and I made the case that our condition and our prospects are stronger and more encouraging now than at any prior time in my life. And I believe that. So George alluded to something. We had investment pouring into our downtown in an unprecedented way. About 25 projects that have been approved, about a dozen under construction, and really it's just the beginning. We haven't even felt the benefit of it yet, but that's coming in the years ahead. And for those of us who have worked so hard to accomplish this, it is thrilling. George mentioned the work that we're doing on the environment. It's not just classic stuff like swapping out the light bulb, putting in an electric vehicle charging station. For those who don't know, Sustainable Westchester, we are delivering 100% renewable power to every consumer in New Rochelle who wants it. This is the first experiment in the entire state of New York. And that is exciting. We're investing in infrastructure in ways that we haven't for decades and decades. And that's classic stuff like roads and sewers, and also gems like Keystone Lake, which will be ready for the first time in decades, parks and playgrounds destroyed by youngsters. All of that, vitally important. And at the same time, we are committed to inclusion and reflected in what we're doing with respect to affordable housing, reflected in the great work of groups like Club-6, so many other not-for-profit partners, making sure that we are community with everyone. So if you look at the traditional metrics, I mean, our crime rate is the lowest in 60 years. Our bond rating is the best in 80. It is remarkable. And I remember the days, when I was a kid, when New Rochelle had the reputation of a community that couldn't get out of its own way. All sorts of strengths and assets, but perpetually short of its potential. And now, we are being held up as a model. $10 million from New York State for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. Incredibly competitive. Dozens of communities competing. New Rochelle won. Bloomberg's Mayor Challenge. Hundreds of communities competing. All across the country. We are one of 9 cities to be winners. I go to intermunicipal conferences and people are asking to learn from us, which again is enormously gratifying for anyone who is involved in public life. And here is the point I want to make. These things don't just happen. They don't fall into our laps. They are the product of will and action and choice and determination. It is something that all of us together have accomplished. And I hope you will take some justifiable pride in what we have done side by side, arm in arm, to help move this community forward to the future we all know it deserves to have. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. And I want to add a special word, and George mentioned this too rightly, that when it comes to the government, it certainly is not a one-person act. It's a function of teamwork. I think about the amazing work that my predecessor, Tim Idomi, did to turn this city around, work that we are building on today. And I think about how grateful I am for the partnership of the council members who were mentioned earlier, for Jared and for Ivar and for Barry and for Liz, and for my running mates in this election who will join us, not that we agree on everything, but that we have a sense of common purpose, a sense that we are in it together, that we have to put aside ego and focus on what's best for the community as a whole. That has made an enormous difference to New Rochelle, and it will make an enormous difference in the years ahead. And the last thing I want to say is that even though at this level of government, most of what we do is measured in specific municipal actions and policies, we know that for public service at every level, it is more than that. It is also affirming a set of values that help define what a community is all about. Whether that is protecting and upholding the rights of immigrants, strangers, and religious minorities, whether that is, whether that is being stewards of the natural environment and handing it down to our children and grandchildren in the state that we can be proud of and worthy of our best interests. Whether that's understanding that we are connected. We can't live our lives in splendid isolation, that we have a stake in each other's lives, in lifting each other up. That's part of what defines our humanity. It's no secret that those principles are under siege in much of the world, under siege in much of the country, even under siege at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But I'm here to tell you that those principles are alive and well in New Rochelle, New York. And we will keep the flame of brotherhood and sisterhood kindled here until it can be rekindled, as it surely will be, from sea to shining sea. So, I don't know if I'm going to make it to 100. If I do, it's a safe bet that I won't be observing the occasion with a fundraiser. But I do want to say how grateful I am to each of you for permitting me to look ahead to the next chapter with a sense of excitement and possibility and joy. And I hope all of you will conclude this event in that same spirit, feeling that we have a chance together to do something remarkable. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And thank you for being here.
A birthday party without cake and some singing. So, bring the cake around and you can blow out your candle, and then we'll all join in with happy
I'll never forget the day he walks up to my house, because I live on the street. It's like, only a couple. This guy.
You keep punching. We can punch back. You gonna take a picture?
He walks up to my house.
You know, what I have is I have it on video, and I'm gonna take a picture. Oh, let's. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Noam. Happy birthday to you. Again, here's the photo. Let me take a photo of you guys.